Hello my dear students, I, Mrs. MAITHRI, have come here to take you to your syllabus of biology in which you are going to study in your first and second PUC. Now in this session, what are we going to do? In this session, I am going to take you to the world of biology. What are you going to study? Why are you going to study? How are you going to study biology? So let us begin, students. First of all, what is biology? Now, again, a question, what is biology, has to be answered by each and every individual today, because it is biology who is proving to be a savior in this situation. So let us study what is biology. Basically, as you can see, biology is nothing but biology is life. Every living thing, everything which is giving birth to another thing is biology. Every simple thing which makes noise is biology. Every single unicellular, multicellular, single-celled organism, every single thing which moves is biology. So basically, the word biology has been derived from two Greek letters, that is bios, which means life, and logy, which means to study. So basically, biology is the study of life. Biology is the study of living things. Every single thing, when you get up in the morning, everything, every bird which is making noise, every flower which is blooming, every wind which is blooming, every rainfall which is coming, it has got a purpose. Why? What? Where? Why do the birds always sing? Why do the flowers have so many different colors? Why does it rain? What is the importance of rain? Why is it that there is 12 hours of light? Why is it that there is 12 hours of darkness? This is all biology. So, biology is nothing but study of life, and within these 2 years, when you are going to be studying this its and bits of biology, you become a biologist. Yes, my dear students, let us now enter into this biology with a small history of biology. So first of all, we have got a number of different ancestors who have told us about this biology, who have introduced us to this biology, and first among them was a very great personality called as Aristotle. Now students, Aristotle was one of the greatest personality we have known under science. Why? There is a reason for it. Aristotle has his different physiologies, has his theories under each and every branch of biology, students. He has told us different theorems under physics, he has given different theories under biology, different theories under mathematics, and different theories under chemistry. So, my dear friends, we have Aristotle. He was considered to be the father of biology, and most important work of Aristotle under biology was that he told us about classification of organisms. What is classification? Where you can see that is a plant and you are an animal, thanks to Aristotle. If you can say plants have their own personalities, plants can be divided into different organisms, it is Aristotle. So Aristotle has his most important contribution under biology by saying that we have to be classified under different categories. It may be Monera, it may be Protista, it might be Mycota, Animalia, Plantae, etc. So here we have the most important person called as Aristotle. Next we have Galen. Now Galen was the first person who told us something about anatomy. He was considered to be a father of anatomy. Now what is anatomy? Anatomy is nothing but study of internal structures. Now when there was a time when people hypothesized about the health, they believed that if I can see a person and he is not working properly, he is said to be a fevered person, he might get fever. But this great person called as Galen, what he said is no, you cannot determine health in such a simple way. He told us about 4 different humors, students. What are these humors? He said there is something in the human body which has to be balanced. According to him, the blood, the phlegm, the black bile and the yellow bile has to be balanced in the body. Like say for example, in case of Indian system, we say Vata, Pitta, Kapha. This has to be working properly in our body, and if this is in the balanced state, then we will be functioning in a very beautiful manner. So that is about the second person called as Galen. Next we have Andrus Vesalius. Now, who was he? Now understand, dear students, in India also we have got so many eminent persons like Charaka and Samhita who Charaka and Sushruta, who told us about Indian system of medicine. In the same way, this person called as Vesalius, he was the first person who started dissecting the body. He was the first person who dissected the body of the person, and he studied about comprehensive anatomy, my dear students. Next we have the next person, William Harvey. Now William Harvey, along with the different persons who studied about medicine and his medicine system in India, this great person, he said that health, that is basically because there is something called as blood in our body. There is something red which is moving in our body, and because of that red blood which is moving into our body, and if that is affected, you surely have to get a disease. As you can see, there are a number of different viruses, bacteria, fungi, algae, which is causing disorder in our body. And this person called as William Harvey, he was the person who discovered the blood circulatory system. His main theories, he said that in our body there is a system called as heart, a pumping system called as heart, which only pumps the blood. But it is the blood which is moving to the different parts of the body. And if this system is affected, then your body also will be affected. So there we have a person called as William Harvey. Next we have Marcello Malpighi. Now there are a number of different organs who are actually named for him, that is Malpighian tubules, Malpighi. Now what is this person doing? This person called as Malpighi, he said he entered the invisible world of human body and plants and studied the internal tissue of our body. This great person not only hypothesized the outer part of the body, but he also entered the inner part, inner secrets of human body as well as plants by studying the different tissues present in our body. He studied about epithelial tissues. He said it is the raincoat or covering system of the body. He said there is connective tissues which is sending the connections to the different part of the body. He said there is something called as nervous system, the CPU of our body, which is actually processing the information. He also said if our body has got certain amount of energy, or he said that if our body has got any rigidity, that is basically because of the muscles. So that is all because of Malpighi. Next, not to be forgotten, Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Now this was a person, he studied different organs in our body from the core. When I say core, that means from a functional unit of our body, my dear students. What is this functional unit? That is the cell. He observed the cell under the microscope. He saw what is happening inside the cell, how a cell is functioning. So he gets an honor of studying the different unicellular, multicellular, all the different tissues in our body under the microscope. He was the first person who called the cell as animalcules. So there we have Leeuwenhoek. Next we have, Charles Darwin. He was called as the father of evolution, my dear students. If we say that we have come from monkeys, thank Mr. Darwin. He was the one who went on to different islands on Queen's personal ship, and he was the one who said that due to different changes in the environment, we will improvise. He said, you practice more, you become perfect. He said, you change according to the environment and nature will select you. So there we have Charles Darwin, who said that we are still monkeys, but an evolved form of monkeys. So there we have Charles Darwin, my dear students. Next. So that's it about some of the historians who said about the biology, who contributed their works towards the biology. And among them, they said biology cannot be such simple way. If we have to study biology, it has to be a detailed study. So then we decided to divide biology into two different fields, that is botany as well as zoology. As the picture suggests, botany is the study of plants. Botany is a study where we can say different flowers have different colors. Botany is a biology which tells plants are the only one who can give us oxygen. Botany is the one who says plants are absorbing the sunlight from the atmosphere, performing photosynthesis, giving us food. Botany is the one who says producers are the one who is very important for us and they are going to save us in the future and not the plastics. So that is botany. And zoology, of course, study about you, we have zoology. Study about elephants, we have zoology. If you can say that tigers are blind for the first 3 months, study zoology. If you can say peacock has different color in his feathers because it has to attract the opposite sex, thanks to zoology. So that is the two fields of biology. Next, let us now peek into some of the different divisions, some of the different branches of biology. So as you can see here, anatomy. Now, as I have already mentioned, my dear students, anatomy is the study of internal structures. Anatomy is a study of structure of organisms and how they function. As you can see here, my dear students, we are peeking into a simple leaf. We are entering a simple leaf, a green colored leaf, and if you can see as it enters inside, it is made up of a tiny structures. We call it as a cell. If you can see inside a cell, there are green patches, we call them as chloroplast. And that chloroplast is the color box of the plants. That chloroplast is the kitchen of the plants. That chloroplast is giving bright green color to the plants. That chloroplast is emitting oxygen, my dear students. So that is the plants. So study about such structures, study about such things comes under anatomy. Next, wow, physiology. My dear students, in our body, as you know, there are so many things which is going on. Heart, the most important structure in our body which is functioning 24/7. Why? Study physiology. Eyes, see, as you can enter inside the eyes, there is a whole lot of complex things inside the eyes. Why? Study physiology. So physiology tells us about the functioning mechanism of different functions in our body. How is that the heart functions 24/7, and how is that I cannot move my hand for 24/7? How is that when I see an object, I can quickly see what is it? How? If I touch a hot subject, I just withdraw my hands. Study physiology. So that is about the second stream called as physiology. My dear students, ecology. We are not forgetting nature because that is biology. So under ecology, ecology is a study of interaction between abiotic and biotic environment. That means it's not that only living things are important, is it not? If we have to survive, a non-living thing called as oxygen is also required. As you can see, we are facing problems for oxygen. There are places where we have to pay money for oxygen. Why? When we are getting a free knowledge, when we are getting free oxygen from plants, why are we giving money for oxygen? So conserve plants, and that's what we are going to study under ecology. Next we have, students, parasitology. Today, when there is a whole lot of spread of this coronavirus, COVID-19 everywhere, there is a group of parasitologists who are working very hard 24/7 when we are under lockdown, my dear students. So this minute virus which has caused so much of the entire world, this is just a small thing. And that is studied under parasitology. So parasitology is a study of small microscopic organisms, and we can do this under an instrument called as microscope. So is it not a very interesting field, my dear students? Next we have taxonomy. Credits to Aristotle. Taxonomy Aristotle was the one who said that plants, animals and different organisms has to be grouped under different structures. Tomorrow if you get a new organisms, how are you going to study it? How are you going to identify it? Please thank Aristotle for it, because he was the one who divided all the living organisms into prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes, basically unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Those organisms who function with a single cell, prokaryotes. Many cells, eukaryotes. Further he said there are bacteria, archaeas, protistas, there is plantae, there is fungi, there is animalia. So he has branched this into different categories. So protistants have got a little bit advanced features. Eukaryotes are most advanced features. And under this, if you can see, fungi are derived from bacteria itself, but with a little higher features. So that is what we are going to study under taxonomy. Then we have embryology. See, embryology is a very tedious subject, my dear students, because embryology has given us evidence that we and all the other animals what you can see in the jungle are derived from a common ancestors. So here we have got embryos of a shark, lizard, chicken, pig and human. As you can see, most of these organisms, they have got similar embryos. That means the embryos grow in a similar way. The embryos get modified in a similar way. But as they become an adult, these structures which are similar in the larval stage gets modified in the adults. Is it not? See, it's beyond the imagination that I can have an ancestor as a tiger. I can be a very strong organism. Is it not? I can have my ancestors like elephants. They are all having a lot of energy. See, my dear students, we may be the most advanced, the most strongest organism in the world, but nevertheless there are some animals who are right behind us. If we overpower them, they are always to be overpowered. So that we have as embryology. Next we have cytology. Without cytology, it's very difficult to study biology, my dear students. What is this cytology? As you can see here, enter the cell. We have cell membrane. Enter the cell membrane, we have got a powerhouse called as mitochondria. Inside we have got a structure called as a DNA. Why I am similar to my parents? DNA will give you the answer. Why I have similar structure to my parents? DNA will give you the answer. So that is cytology. Next we have microbiology. Microbiologists are the one who will culture, who are expertised in removing the structures from different organisms, culturing it, find out the drugs, give it to the person. Today, along with parasitologists, there are also microbiologists who are functioning here. So here we have a tiny small round petri dish in which you can see a very beautiful pattern. But it is very difficult to understand that is not a pattern, that is a bacteria which is growing inside. So this is how microbiologists extract this bacteria, study its function. Once they are aware of its function, find out how you can decrease the growth of this bacteria. Once it has been decreased, the chemical which is decreasing it, give it to the person as a medicine. It might be immunization, it might be in the form of vaccination. So there we have microbiology. Then paleontology, very interesting field where we are studying about dinosaurs, where we are studying about all the ancestral organisms. Today paleontology is the study of fossils. Today with the help of radioactive dating, we can even find out what is the age of these fossils. So this is also one of the most important fields under biology. Next we have genetics. As I said, genetics is a topic which is incorporated in your second year syllabus. Genetics is where you can understand about yourself. Genetics, where you can say genetics is a field when you can find out the diseases in a child who is not yet born. Genetics is a one who can find out the disorders in a child without actually giving birth to a child. Genetics is a one wherein you can remove all those dead cells, you can remove all those dead disorders genes in our body and put a healthy gene inside it. So genetics is a study of inheritance. Genetics tells us why is that I am similar to my parents. Genetics tells us why is that I am getting a blue eyes from my parents. So that is about the genetics. So genetics talks us about the chromosomes and the DNA present in our body. Next we have morphology. Morphology is a study of external structures of our body. Morphology tells us, again as it is there in your first year syllabus, morphology tells us what are the different parts of a cockroach, what are the different parts of a frog, what are the different parts of an earthworm. So morphology talks us about the external structures of the body. Then we have histology. Histology is the study of tissues. Histology just peeks into our body, tells us which are the different tissues present in the body. Majorly in human body there are 4 different types of tissues. The raincoat of our body, that is epithelial tissue. The rigidity, the strength of our body, that is muscles. The CPU, central processing unit of our body, which is nervous system, and all this is connected together with the help of cables called as connective tissue. So there we have histology, study of tissues. So that's it about the different stages. Now let us just peek in what are you exactly going to study in your first and second PUC syllabus if you opt biology. So first of all, some of the topics which is incorporated into your syllabus: the living world, biological classification and plant kingdom. So basically, as I told you in the first part itself, what is life? How can you say a small structure is living? What are the characters which will determine which you understand to say that it is living? Because there are many things which you cannot see. Does that mean that they are not living? No, they are living. So how can you say that they are living? So there are some key structures how you can understand they are living. I'm just telling you in brief these structures. Cellular association, whether they are functioning together, whether they are friends, whether they are enemies, whether they are hindering the other's growth, whatever. They hinder, they help, they are intellectual, they are not intellectual, but they are showing a response. They are showing a stimulus. If I touch a mimosa pudica, that is touch me not plant, which is lying there without any movement, but the moment I touch it, they give a response. Yes, they are living. Reproduction. See, according to Charles Darwin, he said that sexual reproduction helps us tell that we are all living. So if an organism cannot continue its generation, he is not living. So reproduction. Growth. He has to, see, growth doesn't mean he has to increase in size. Growth means if his cell is performing any functions, because in our body heart, if you say, when a person is born, the heart is in the size of a closed fin. So when you die also, it is the same size. That means it doesn't grow, but it is metabolically very active. It is functioning 24/7. So that is what is called as a living. So under these chapters, you are going to study about some of the classification. So the most broadly classified structure is kingdom. Then we have division. Then we have class, order, genus, family, species, etc. Then we have different kingdoms. We have small algae, then we have bryophytes, which are little bit higher form of algae. Then we have gymnosperms, pteridophytes, angiosperms. Today, if you can see, plants are flowering, all those plants are coming under angiosperms. Then we have different kingdoms. Basically, we believe in 5 kingdom classification, and those kingdoms are Monera, Protista, Animalia, fungi, plant, etc. So under the kingdom Monera, we are going to be studying about different unicellular organisms, all those organisms which are made up of a single cell. Under Protista also, we are going to be studying about all those tiny microorganisms like bacteria, like amoeba, which are present. Then under the fungi, we are going going to study those organisms which are multicellular but still are not so advanced as they can function like us. So we have got fungi, different types of fungi. It might include the small dandruff which is present on your brain, or it can be different mushrooms which grow on the trees. Then we have plantae, of course, as I said, study of plants, different flowering, non-flowering, all those plants are included under kingdom plantae. Then we have animalia, study of animals. Then these are some organisms you are going to be studying: bacteriophage, TMV, tobacco mosaic virus. These are all the things which you are going to be studying under the first part of your topics. Then we have topics like morphology of flowering plants, we have anatomy of flowering plants, structural organization in animals, where you are again going to be studying about different tissues in our body, and never to forget about animal breeding, where you can see how two major organisms fuse, how today after the World War man has discovered the most furious dogs. He has crossed between a fox and a dog, and to give today's most furious dogs. So all those things we are going to be studying under animal kingdom. Then we have another topic called as cell cycle and cell division. So here under this topic called as cell cycle and cell division, so as you can see here, my dear students, there is a single cell, as you can see, which later on becomes two. If there is a small cut on my hand, after 24 hours it will almost repair itself. How? Cell divides. How? Because cell is undergoing a function called as mitosis and meiosis. If you are producing sperms, if a female is producing eggs, why? That is because of cells are dividing. So under this we are going to study about different phases like prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase, wherein we are basically going to study about how not only the cell but also the internal chromosomes in the cells divide. So there we have cell cycle and cell division. Then we are going to be studying about transport in plants, mineral nutrition, plant growth and development, photosynthesis, respiration. So as I told you, without plants are the free sources of oxygen. We don't have to give money for it. Why? Because these plants utilize less than 50% of sun's radiation, put them inside the kitchens called as chloroplast, generate energy inside the mitochondria, and give us fresh oxygen. Next we have under our first year syllabus, my dear students, is human physiology. See students, you are future doctors. See, you are aspirants for future NEET exams. You have to know what is our human body. You have to know tomorrow if a person comes to you for a disease, you should know what is actually happening inside the body. You should know what is physiology. So under this physiology we are going to be studying about digestion, we are going to be studying about circulation, we are studying about respiration, excretion, locomotion. We are also studying about the nerves in the body and all those chemicals which are helping us to perform all these things. So as you can see here students, there is a person who has just had a small amount of food. How it enters inside the body, what happens inside the mouth, as it enters into the stomach, what happens inside the stomach, how much amount of food is digested in the stomach, how it is entering into the large intestine, small intestine, entering into the rectum, anus, and then is removed from the body. So a small piece of food also undergoes so much different processes. So there we have human physiology. Then we are going to be studying the most important, the most interesting structures, the most interesting topic we have, evolution, wherein we are going to study how did we evolve, how did a small cell become the entire human being. We are going to study why. Why is that the most dominant organisms on the earth called as dinosaurs just vanished because of that meteor. We are going to study when dinosaurs died because of that meteor, How did we survive? Because during the Jurassic era, there are mammals called as shrimps, but those shrimps survived. Is it not so interesting? Shrimps survived against the Jurassic era, and there we have shrimps developed into monkeys, monkeys becomes apes, apes became humans. So initially Dryopithecus, Ramapithecus, Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Neanderthal men, and finally we have Homo sapiens. Maybe in future some say there are Homo futuralis, yet to be seen. What is it? So there we have evolution. Next we have reproduction in organisms, sexual reproduction in flowering plants, where we study that how does plant, like say for example in humans we undergo fertilization, in the same way plants also undergoes fertilization. The male part of the flower as well as the middle female part of the flower releases a certain gametes which will help them to undergo fertilization. So there we have, this is the ovary part, then this is a style part which is called as the female part of the plant flower. This is the structure which is present inside the ovary. There we have the egg who is waiting for these are the pollens which is deposited similar to these sperms produced by the male. These pollens enter inside the flower, undergoes reproduction. There is something called as compatibility. That means all pollens cannot fertilize all the ovary. So there is something called as compatibility. Only the compatible stamen, only the compatible pollens can go and fertilize with the cells. So all these things are helped by certain pollinators. As you know, birds are pollinators, animals are pollinators, insects are pollinators. So with the help of pollinators, the process of fertilization takes place inside the flower. So they germinate, the pollens, the part of the pollens enters inside. There is some changes taking place inside the ovary. Egg undergoes division, it forms a reproductive part, it becomes a zygote, and this particular structure, now as you can see, this is a flower who has already undergone the process of fertilization. It sheds its petals because petals are attracting the insects. It becomes a fruit and then it germinates. So there we have, this is what you are going to study under reproduction in organisms, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Then we have human reproduction. So under the human reproduction, this is all considered in your second year syllabus. Under the human reproduction, you are going to see how do we undergo fertilization. So once 300 million sperms entering into the female body, these sperms enter into the female body, enter the fallopian tube. In this fallopian tube, they go and fertilize the eggs. This is a zygote which is continuously undergoing division. It becomes 2, it becomes 4, it becomes 8, 16, so on. It goes on dividing until it becomes 100 cells. Then it goes and attaches to the female uterus, that is the womb. And there we have the development of a very beautiful gift, a very beautiful process of the nature, that is the development of the child. How from that single cell structure, how because of the fusion of sperms and eggs, how is this beautiful creature born? So this is all we are going to be studying under the topic human reproduction. So see how beautifully you can see the heart is just beating. As you know, within 1.5 months of pregnancy, before actually development of the entire child, the heartbeat starts. So the heart is beating within 1.5 before actually the development of the brain. So it's always said, listen to your heart rather than brain, because heart is developed first. Heart is senior, then comes the brain. So this is how the development of the entire fetus, the child, takes place inside the body. So next topic which you are going to be studying is molecular basis of inheritance. So what are you going to study here is we are entering into the cell, we are entering into the DNA part of the cell. So as I have already told you, one cell divides into two. It's not such a simple structure because that single cell also has to function. That particular DNA has to divide itself, and that is all molecular basis what we are going to study. Not the outer structures, but we are entering inside the cell. We are going to study the central dogma of the cell. How from a DNA, mRNA is produced. How from the mRNA by the process of translation, proteins are produced, and how these proteins are responsible for giving the different structures, characters in our body. So that we are going to be studying under molecular basis of inheritance. Next, human health and disease. So today there is a talk about coronavirus, and this is one virus which is coming under the category of viruses. We have got different types of virus like rhinovirus, retrovirus, and of course the coronavirus. Viruses are difficult to study, my dear students. One reason is because viruses are considered to be one of the most smartest organisms. Why? Because as they enter inside the body, they use our body's immunity system for the growth. That means they gain friendship with our immunity system and they start dividing inside the body, and the moment they come out of the body, they die. And that makes it very difficult to study about these viruses, and maybe that is one reason why this is not understood, why we have failed to understand these viruses. But then one advantage of this virus, it quickly spreads through the air. It enters from one person to another through air. So coronavirus is also the same structure from the humans. As it enters into the human body, it goes and damages the lungs, it damages the air sacs and giving some pneumonia kind of symptoms, and because of which the person faces difficulty. The only way you can protect yourself against this is by increasing the immunity of our body. That is all we have. Maintain distance from people, increase your immunity. This is the only two things which can help us against this coronavirus. As you can see on the screen, my dear students, how rapidly does it spread? Through handshake, through even talking with the person, or by using the same utensils as used by the infected person. So there we have, this is all some of the diseases we are going to be studying under human health and disease. And there is a very quickly developing field called as biotechnology. Biotechnology has become a savior in most of the fields of biology today. Biotechnology uses technology to give solution for biological problems. If there is any chromosomal problem, as you can see on the screen, if there is any DNA which is damaged, a part of the DNA which is damaged, you can isolate it, you can remove the damaged parts, you can put a new healthy desired gene into it. Maybe in the future, if biotechnology becomes very much advanced, maybe if you want to change your color of the eyes, go to a biotechnologist. So biotechnology is today's very quickly developing field. Today, it has been said that AIDS can be cured, but only if the body's gene or body's DNA gets activated. There are so many people who have got natural resistance for this AIDS HIV virus. Why? That is all we are going to be studying under biotechnology. Biotechnology under the project name called as Human Genome Process. This is one of the emerging fields of biology. Then, as I told you, ecology. Ecology tells us about what are the pollutions in the environment, how many organisms have become endangered, how many organisms are still available, which organisms has to be preserved. Tigers, elephants which have to be preserved, how population is growing in the environment, what is the effect of population to the environment. So all that we are going to study about in ecology. Next, Microbes in human welfare. So today, as you know, every single beverages, it might be alcoholic beverages, it might be a simple curd, all the dairy products, cheese, paneer, all those are fermented products. That means, what is fermentation? Use of microorganisms to prepare the food. It might be in the form of beverages, cheese, drinks, bread, cake. If you can see a cake is fluffy enough, that is because of a microorganism called as yeast. So because of this, it has gained a lot of importance in the field of food. Not only this, microbes are also acting as a savior to reduce the population. Today, there is a talk about gobar gas, there is a talk about water conservation, there is a talk about purification of water, there is a sewage process. Why? That is all because of microorganism. Microorganism have the ability to destroy a water resource and also has the ability to protect a water resource also. So there we have in the chapter called as Microbes in Human Welfare. Then let us now study, why should we study biology? Where is application of this biology? As I have already told you, today biology is applied in most of the fields of food processing, beverages. Not only this, there are many agricultural applications of biology also. There was a talk about BT cotton, there is a talk about golden rice, wherein we are preparing resistant varieties. Today DDT is being used so that there are so many organisms which can be killed. Not only that, BT cotton produces the resistant varieties of cotton. There is golden rice which gives us additional amount of nutrition from the normal rice, and all thanks to biology. Then we have health and medicine. Of course, as I am keeping on telling you, biology helps us to protect our body. If we have got, as you know, once a child is born, within 1 month, within 1.5 months, BCG vaccine is being given so that it gets additional protection against tuberculosis. It is vaccinated. Vaccination is a type of process of type of medicine which is given before actually the birth of the child. Before a child is born, if you are immunizing that body so that in the future the body is immunized thanks to the medicines prepared, the vaccines prepared under the biology. Next, a very quickly growing culture called as stem cell culture. Today, if an organ is damaged, we have to wait for the donors so that transplantation process can take place. But this is one field which can actually cure this problem, which can give a solution to this problem. What is it? Stem cell culturing. Today, when a child is born, the umbilical cells, the umbilical cord cells can be preserved so that in the future, if that particular body is facing any kind of damage to the organs, take the stem cells, put it in your body, it can develop into generate a whole new cells in the body. So transplantation process, waiting for the donors, can in one way be cured because of this stem cell culturing. So stem cell culturing is replacing the damaged organs in our body with these stem cells. So stem cells are totipotent. That means according to the function, according to the need, they change their function. Next we have ecosystem and fossil fuels. Of course, today with the help of gobar gas, there are many houses who are getting fuels. So ecosystem and fossil fuels are helping us to generate this bio-friendly things. Next generation biofuels. This is also one of the applications. Today petrol and diesel is used for vehicles to run the different structures, but in the future, because of this plants called as Jatropha cuirass, you can generate oil which can be replaced for the diesel. So this can act as a biodiesel. Next we have hantavirus. So along with coronavirus, we have got a gift called as hantavirus. Now this hantavirus is basically because of rats. So if your place is contaminated, if there is a lot of rats in your place, you are in a threat of an hantavirus, because through the rats the viruses can spread into your respiratory system. Then, as you know, a very fresh topic is about the locust. So it is said that Pakistanis have given us a threat of this locust. That means in Rajasthan, as you know, there is a whole group of insects which are attacking the Rajasthani areas, and they are attacking on this smaller plants. So these are the locusts which are eating up the pods and early growth of these plants. So that is the locust. Then what do you do after you select biology? What is the future? So if you select biology as a subject, you can, after finishing 12th, you can either go for medical, BSc, or you can go for other courses like nutrition, dietitians, etc. Or else these are some of the fields which are covered under the biology, medical as well as paramedical science courses. Finally, or else the third option you have, enter into agricultural courses. There is different agriculture, 4 years, 2 years, 1 year agricultural courses which you can opt after your second PUC. So there we have, students, that's it. This is about the biology you are going to be studying in your first and second PUC. So opt for biology and save the nature. Thank you.